manual/en/language.oop5.magic.php. Please note that the naming convention of a magic method in PHP is that its name begins with a double underscore, and also that the magic method should always be public. That said, I'm going to create a new class that I will call magic. I will give it some properties, respectively name set to John and age set to 12. Now I'm going to create a variable called underscore that will instantiate the magic class into a new object, and I'm going to create a string to test that my object has been instantiated successfully. Let's test in the browser. And it works. John is 12 years old. Now let's see our first magic method, which is the constructor. Let's say that every time I want to call my class magic into an object, I want to choose a different name and age that I will set in the instantiation. So I'm going to create a method called double_construct, expecting the parameters name and age, and setting those to be my object properties. And now I'm going to add a parenthesis after my instantiation declaration with the parameters I want, here Jack and 30. Let's test in the browser, and it works. Jack is 30 years old. Now let's say I want to protect my object properties name and age using the protected keyword. Now, if I go back to my browser, it will throw an error because I'm trying to access protected properties, which PHP rightfully sees as an illegal operation. So I'm going to use another magic method called double_get that PHP will call every time an object instantiation is using a protected or not found property. The double_get magic method is expecting the key argument. In my function body, I will just allow the protected property to be accessed, and I'll go back to my browser and it works. Now let's imagine that at runtime, after my object has been constructed, I want to change the names property, let's say to Peter. PHP will throw an error because I'm trying to set a property that is either protected or not found, in this case protected. To fix that, I'm going to use another magic method called double_get, waiting for a key and a value. And in my function body, I will just allow the protected property to be set to the value. Now I go back to my browser, and the new name has been applied, Peter. Now I'm going to create a regular method called work. Upon calling it, it will display a message. I call the work function in my runtime, and back to my browser, you can see the message is successfully displayed. Now I'm going to call a method that hasn't been set. Let's say it. As you can see on the browser, PHP throws an error because you're calling a method that hasn't been set. So we're going to add in our class another magic method called double_call. The same as double_get that is called every time you're trying to access an unknown property, double_call is called when you're calling a method that does not exist. Double_call takes two arguments, function and an array of arguments. Function is the name of the method you're trying to call. Here in the function body, I'm just going to display a message saying that this method does not exist. And back to my browser, and the double_call magic method get called successfully. Now we are going to see what happens if I'm trying to echo my object. As you can see, PHP throws a fatal error because echo can only print strings and not objects. To be able to print something every time an object is called as a string, I'm going to use the _toString magic method. This method is expected to return a string. So let's test it in our browser, and it works. Similar to the _toString magic method is the _invoke magic method. This method is going to be called every time you append parentheses to your object instantiation variable. In the function body, I'm just going to output the name of the object. Test it on the browser, and it works. The last magic method I'm going to show you concerns what happens when your object gets destroyed. As you probably know, when PHP has finished executing a script, it destroys all the variables that have been created during runtime, including objects. This is called garbage collection, and its goal is to free memory. And when that happens, if you class as a destructor magic method, it will be called at that moment. It will also be called if you destroy the object yourself during runtime, which is what I'm going to do here using the unset function. Now in my function body, I'm just going to echo a message. Let's test it in our browser. And we can see that our destructor magic method has been called upon object unsetting. That is all for now, but you can find more PHP magic method at http://php.net/manual/an/language.oop5.magic.php.